Appreciate you being here. Hope you're having a great Friday. All right, and our guest should hopefully be joining soon. So Dylan. All right, and if you guys could please comment below, retweet the space, would greatly appreciate it. So how are you doing, Jenny? How's your Friday going so far?
Going good. Trying to think. So yesterday, Sarkis and Carlos went to the Dali Museum. They came back with this really cool book that I'm loving. It has so much of his art. And then other than that, just work. And the kids are home, and Carmen wants to redo her entire room. So she's over here sending me links for like West Elm and Pottery Barn Kids. And so, yeah, looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Man, I've lived in Florida like so long, and I'm a huge fan of Dali, and I've never been to the museum before. Like I've always wanted to go, and then somehow I just haven't been able to make it out there. So I definitely need to plan something to go out to the West Coast and go to the museum.
We would love to have you guys over and go with you to the museum. It's I never tire of it. Like there's always something new. This last time that Sarkis and Carlos went, they had his drawings. So it's part of their permanent collection, but they don't exhibit it all the time, and they just happen to have it this time.
Man,
so
that's so cool.
They got that treat. Yeah, that's cool. So anytime, my friend, we'd love to go.
That would be awesome. Let me see if Chun-Li. I'm wondering if she might have joined back here on the stream, but not in the space. Hey, Chun-Li, are you back?
Yeah, I'm restarting the device. Hold on, because there was no audio.
Okay.
Yes, now there's no audio on the Twitter, so I'll restart. I'm still restarting. It's very slow. Just give me another minute.
No worries. Well, for right now, the people can hear you through my phone or my microphone, so that's all good. But how's your day going so far? I know actually it's late for you right now, right? It's probably already what is it, Saturday already, right?
Yeah, it's 12:30 in the morning, midnight. I don't know. I mean, we are creatures of Web3. There are 25 hours in our days.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me get into Twitter right now. I'm looking for the space. It should be on. Okay. I'm joining the Twitter space right now. I'll be muting here on this feed.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. I see we got David in the room. AJ, thank you for joining. I'm going to be calling on you to come up and ask a question. All right, Chun-Li, so you can go ahead and unmute yourself in Twitter. And let's make sure we can hear you okay.
Yeah, it's working.
Yay.
Hold on. Wait, I got to mute the other side.
I did. So you're good there. Yeah.
No, I can hear two of you talking. It's why.
Okay, so you need to lower the volume. Yes, you do need to lower the volume on your side over there. Yeah. So you don't hear it twice.
Yeah. It's like an infinite kind of thing. So I hear you, two of you, then I hear delay, and Okay, so here we are with this new technology where we can be on multiple platforms and media at the same time.
I know, right? Isn't it? It's a cool thing. All right.
So the first time I did this. The first time I did something like this was on Spatial. We did, I told you this now, I think. And we had something going on in the Spatial gallery. And then we did the audio feed here on Twitter. And there's one time where I brought a Twitter space host into the metaverse, into Spatial. For his first time. And he was so mesmerized by the whole experience. And we got lost in there for, I don't know, the whole show. And people were just listening and not knowing what the hell we were talking about. I think that was crazy at the time. So yeah, those were the days.
That's awesome.
Okay, back to you.
No worries. No, and thank you so much again for joining us as our guest artist today. Usually, I like to start this off with just doing a quick introduction of the space in case we have anybody new or newly listening to these spaces to understand kind of why we started it. And then Jenny will do an introduction of our guest, and then we like to kind of jump into interview style questions, just to get to know you a little bit more, a little bit better, a little bit more about your art, and inspiration. And then we love then having our guests be able to, come up on stage and also ask questions. So love to get, participation from folks that we have in the room. And also I'll just remind everybody that's in the room, if you guys could please retweet, comment on the space below so we can get more people in here as well. Would greatly appreciate that. And that's also, so there is a really cool PO-app with art that Chun-Li created that I'll give out to people that attend the space live. So the way I keep track of that is if you comment and or retweet the space. So please do that so you can also get the really cool PO-app. All right, so I'll start with the introduction. So this is a space that I started now 32 weeks ago to really interview and highlight the amazing work of Web3 artists. I found that there was a lot of other spaces that were just giving people a very short period of time to talk about themselves and show their art, and really wanted to have something where we could go deeper, really get to know more about the artists behind the art. And hoping that through these spaces, the artists can reach new collectors, people that already follow them can get to know them better, find out new things about them, and also maybe inspire people that have creative passion to start creating and sharing art of their own. It's a very inclusive space, so we welcome artists of all nationalities, backgrounds, artistic styles, whether they have 50,000 followers or 50. We try to celebrate how art and creativity bring us all together. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jenny to do the introduction.
Thank you so much. Choen is a super talented, multidisciplinary artist. An illustrator, photographer, and writer, Choen's artwork invites viewers to see things from a different perspective and has been showcased in many exhibits worldwide. Choen's style is influenced by manga and pop culture. This artist has a unique ability to express opinions and commentary through her art, as well as in the Web3 space. And with that, Giancarlo and I are so happy to welcome Choen to the space.
Hi, Jenny. Thanks.
Hey,
it's quite a weird experience, this one, because here we are. Usually I'm used to this talking like a radio show.
Yeah.
But here, okay, the listeners should notice that there is actually a video feed as well on studiorestream.io. And, I'm just looking at Giancarlo and Jennifer and Jenny talking to me. And it's like, wow, this is so different. So so that's about it. There's always something new to experience every time, I think.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me here.
Yeah, no, thanks for being our guest. It's a pleasure to have you. So the way I like to maybe start it off, Chun-Li, is maybe you can take like 5 minutes and tell us a little bit more about you, your story, your upbringing, how you developed your love for art, and how you eventually entered the Web3 space.
Oh, wow. Okay. I am pretty old. I sound younger than I am. I think because a lot of people think that I'm like this newbie and stuff. But my first published work was in the 1990s, and if I remember correctly, it was a cartoon piece. But I don't remember what it is or who it is for. Because back then what we had to do was mail the artwork to the publisher, and then we never ever get to see it again. If they send it back to you, then you're lucky usually. And so even for photography, which I got into later, same thing. We mail in the films, we never get to see it back, even though our contracts stipulate that they don't own the films, the negatives, or whatever. They have to send it back. It never happens. But yeah, okay, how it started. Let's go back. Let's go back to the days when I suppose I was still wearing diapers. Yeah, I remember that diaper because I my my parents used to live with my uncle and my aunt, and there is an older cousin, a few years older than me, and he was a manga freak. You know, he drew a lot on his textbooks and all that. And I remember he always got got caned by his parents because he just didn't do his homework. But he just drew and drew, and that's where and who I learned from. And of course, after a while, he taught me how to draw. But I also found his stacks of comic books and I know manga and whatever, and I copied from those as well. And so yeah, it's been years of this drawing and drawing those stuff. And he's the last time I heard from he moved to Shanghai, from wherever I am. I can't really reveal where I am exactly for some reasons
No,
which
that's
you will find
fine. That's
later.
okay. Yeah. And I love
Okay.
so we do have like I put up this like page of a magazine that you had uploaded here on our stream, and it says, "Where am I from?" Everywhere. So appropriate.
Yeah, because in Battery we are from everywhere. Especially, we can do shows anywhere, everywhere, and nobody really cares, unless you really are that, what would they call it? That loyal to your flag or whatever. But I think we are living in a global village right now. So let's just have fun and enjoy this before the old school nationalists take over again and split us up and bring another round of World War, because it feels a bit like that right now, unfortunately. But okay, anyway, my villain origin story. Let's put it this way. Okay, I learned from him, blah blah blah. Just kept drawing. So I took up after him. I drew in my textbooks as well, and yeah. So this is years of that, and then it led up to the publishing the cartoons and stuff. And then I went to architecture after that. Imagine I had to unlearn everything I learned on my own to do architecture. And but what that was, it taught me how to be more disciplined in approaching things, into looking at things a different way. And then I got into it, but I found a lot of corruption, a lot of basically the whole scene, the whole movement, the whole thing. Just forgot about we are not just humans who want to make nice looking shelters, nice looking spaces, and all that. We are actually very much part of this whole world. We are one of the creatures of this world, and we are not taking care of it. So I thought, fuck this shit. I have already been losing myself into the dark room a lot at a time anyway. So I thought, okay, I'll be shooting a lot. Might as well just take my camera and go expose all these things that's going on in architecture. So I spent 2 years doing that. Just going to the jungles just to show, photograph deforestation, to track down the migration of workers who are not really getting the fair share and mistreated as deaths and stuff like that. But then after 2 years, okay, my parents at the time was, why don't you get a job? Why are you just leeching off us? But we're Asians, so we don't kick you out. But 2 years of that, and then nobody wanted to publish it because what I found out was a little bit of research. I was too naive. What I found out was um, all these magazines, publications, they rely on money from developers, real estate and all that. So of course they won't want to run a story like this because it threatens their ad money. But anyway, I found a small indie mag who looked at it and said, we have to run this. They did. Circulation was shit, but it got me started as a photographer. And from there, I accidentally became an editorial and fashion photographer, which led to commercial work. And so I think I can't remember how long I've been in there, but it's a long time. So it was long enough for my magazine covers to win gold medals, honorary mentions, and silver, all the colors of whatever medals they have at
Wow.
international conferences. Yeah, I didn't win. The work won. I always say it's the work because when it comes to it, it's always the team. And then I burned out. I think burned out a few times, and the last time I burned out, it took me a few years to finally think, okay, I'm ready. I want to come back. But when I was ready to come back, the pandemic came and lockdowns came, and I was bloody broke. I was bloody broke. Luckily, I have someone to rely on a bit, but that's not a nice thing to do, isn't it? So some friends they remembered that I drew when I was younger, and they thought, okay, I can connect you to this DeFi platform. They need someone to do their memes, some cartoons and stuff. Why don't you do something for them? So we connected, and then I realized I have no fucking clue. Sorry for the other.
That's okay.
My use of photography, we have to be quite foul mouth to get the guys to listen sometimes. Sorry, I'll try not to.
It's all good. It's all good. Express yourself in whatever way you want. So.
The DeFi platforms, they crypto and all that. I didn't understand a single thing. What's this? Because I didn't have any interest in stock markets and stuff like that. So this itself is like it's like an even a more extreme version of that. So I took a few months just to look through, to understand it, to see what the culture is, just to want to draw some cartoons, right? And I still didn't quite get it. Then someone said, okay, why don't you just do some NFTs? And I thought, what? What's that? And so, I didn't know what it was. And at the time, I was actually baking a lot, doing food stuff, and so I thought, okay, I love my comic books, I love my pop culture, and so I did a genesis called Pop Culture Consumption, which basically is all these famous characters, and I call them cosplayers, because they're all too fat, too thin, too wrong shape, out of shape, and they're just consuming something. And so that was my genesis. And so, that's how I got started. And the first people who bought the artworks were, of course, my friends in real life. And I thought, wow, this is not bad. I mean, okay, I'm selling stuff for cheaper than what I can earn in my photography, but this is fun. I can actually finally do whatever I want without caring for any commercial rules and laws. Did it. And then I realized I still didn't understand the degens, the crypto bros, the culture. I had no community in Web3. And so when I found spaces, I joined in. That's when I realized nobody gives a damn who you are, what you are, who you were. So I was just a nobody. And that actually refreshed me. It made me feel like I was 20, 21 again, when I had to start all this, the whole thing again. And except it feels a bit like a cheat, because it's like you die in a game. You get the restart, right? Yeah, it's a bit like that, except I've got 20 years of experience under my belt doing this. So it's a bit of a cheat. So that's how I stumbled into Web3. And so, back to you.
Wow, no, really, really cool story. And it's interesting that you did like architecture and then photography, and then eventually kind of came into creating artwork in the NFT space. And you did mention that like your early influences, and I know Jenny also touched on this as well in the introduction, but that you mentioned that there was a lot of influence from manga and comic books. I was curious, were there any specific ones that you felt like influenced you more, of the ones that like really got you to be more passionate about creating art?
Well, let's put it like this. At the time when I got interested in comic books again was in the 1990s. No, before that I was always browsing through them, because that's how I learned to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And so when was this, 91, 92, the comic book, the time when all these people were dumping their money into it because they think that they can buy the next Superman #1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when everyone, the first issues or the special whatever editions and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in, but I was in for the art. But so my friends, they were in for the flip, which is exactly what we saw in this
Mm-hmm.
NFT spaces. And so even at the time, I think it was end 2021, I was telling people, this is exactly like the comic book bubble. You guys are all going to lose your money. and they told me to fuck off. Well, a lot of them actually lost by flipping, and they just, I don't know, just keep buying shit that they think they can sell to the next person. But if you're buying to a 10K project and everyone has got more or less the same looking thing, who's going to buy from you? So yeah, people just got greedy, and so I saw the whole thing like the comic book boom happening all over again. So yeah, guys, buy the art, don't buy the flip. But anyway,
I like that quote. Buy the art, don't buy the flip.
That's awesome advice. You mentioned that your art will either make someone smile or challenge their perceptions. Can you share with us what are some of those established beliefs or ideas that you would like for others to see differently?
Okay, established ideas. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me think through this. Okay, make you smile. Okay, because a lot of the things I do is I lampoon things. When, let's say, politicians say stupid things, I lampoon them. Or when someone does something, I make an artwork or even a photograph or some artwork, to take a piss. And so yeah, that will either make you smile, or if you have not thought about things in that way before, a challenge how you see things, I guess. So even the artworks I've put up on the jumbotron right there. If you look through them, okay, these are more of the serious ones, but the panel with all the artworks with the stuff on object, those are the, if you look at that, there is one. Okay, it's a bit hard to go through it this way, but let's put it this way. Okay, why I was just talking about why I cannot disclose my location and how I actually look like and all that. So some of you have got a clue already. Okay, so why it is because earlier this year I put up an artwork in Hong Kong during the art week that was about the dilemma of Hong Kong. But how I managed to get it up there was by not stating what that artwork is actually about. I left it quite open-ended in a way because it's quite cute. You look at them, it's like, okay, this rabbit's looking like they're about to drown in the water and they're swimming, stuff like that. There's a giant rabbit duck, things like that. So if you are not so well versed about the little nuances of South Chinese culture and history, you probably won't get it. So that's why when I was telling the organizer, okay, this artwork is really just for the people of Hong Kong, and that's the part. This is the only part that I didn't lie about. No, I didn't lie about anything when I showed this to get it approved, because I was updating them all the artwork. I was telling them about the fantasy elements, how the portal, is shaped after the one in spatial, and this artwork itself is called "Follow the Black Rabbit to the Far End of the Metaverse." And coincidentally, this is the year of the rabbit in the Chinese lunar calendar, and it is the year of the black rabbit. So a lot of things is kind of like fell into place. But the real story is, which I only revealed on the final day of the art week, was that this is about dilemma of Hong Kong. And if you look at the rabbits there, they are the people who swam across the sea to escape the Great Leap Forward, to escape the Cultural Revolution and basically famine. Because all these fancy labels, people don't really care about them when you're there. My grand aunt was one of them who swam across that sea with her village of friends. And the thing that this when I was young and heard it, it's like it's unreal, because she said that she lost people swimming with her to the sharks. And I thought, yeah, okay, it's a bit much, isn't it? This what sharks in water get? No, that's. But as I get older, I do a bit more research about how other people swam across that part of the sea, because it's unguarded. And why it's unguarded is because that part of the sea between mainland and Hong Kong is this infested with sharks, and that's why the bodyguards, they never bother to guard it, because people probably die going through that. And so yeah, so there's little things, like that, and it's a bit like, it's a game as well. When people reach there after they swam across there, they still have to evade the Hong Kong police, border guards, and all that, because the rule of the game is you have to reach the urban center of Hong Kong to get the amnesty. So what the fuck, right? You survive the swim. You don't drown, you get eaten by sharks. You survive that. You still have to play the game of hide and seek with the police and get to the urban center, touch concrete and say, oh, I've made it. So you get a lot of recounting like that. And a lot of people don't remember this, except the Hong Kongers, because they are really a place made up of migrants from all around China. Even Europeans or Westerners who went there went to seek fortune through the Anglo lands. Of course, they could be French, they could be Spanish, or whatever. But it's a very mixed cultural pot right there. So it's not just very Cantonese, despite it being a Cantonese place. You get Shanghainese there, you get all these other different people there, and so yeah, that's what made Hong Kong like that. So a lot of its migrants, some of them became successful millionaires, magnates, tycoons. But a lot of them didn't. Like my relatives, they just ended up in flats provided by the government after a lot of protests. The British government didn't really give a fuck, at the time. So a lot of people lived in squatters for a long time. So there was always protests in Hong Kong. And so yeah. So anyway, in the last few years, not last few years, let's go back to 1997 first, when the British handed over Hong Kong back to China. The agreement was Hong Kong would have their own little autonomy for 50 years. Let that generation die off forever. Just live on the last years or whatever, and then China would take over with whatever rules they want to impose. And then 25 years in, they crushed the government of Hong Kong, and they just say fuck this shit. And that's why we saw so much protest of going on over there. And that's why this artwork. And so yeah, this is the perception thing. So it challenges that. And so when I don't know, the problem with this artwork is as well because I left it so open ended visually. The pro communist people thought that I was provoking them on the issue of Taiwan, because that itself is an even worse thing. That's to Beijing than anything else. But anyway, this is a very political thing, and this is this one thing. And then after that, this recently I released another artwork about the Tiananmen Square massacre, because people outside of Beijing in 1989 didn't know a thing about this, unless it's people who were there, they escaped, they ran away from Beijing back to their hometowns, villages, and talked about it. And that's how some people knew about what happened, but they're not very clear. So entire generations have had their memories removed about this whole Tiananmen Square massacre, and that's why when you see youths from China going out of China to study elsewhere, and when they see this picture of the tank man, they always get very shocked. Or you see other pictures of dead bodies lying in Tiananmen Square, they get very shocked. So what's this? When did this happen? Just like, so we can count 89 to now. That's probably like 2 generations of people with their history altered. Just things like this, and that's why I always take a piece on it, and that's why I did this artwork called "This Another Sunny Day in June." And this basically took on Beijing's stance that it never happened, and I represent it with like a green screen kind of thing with the tanks erased, but you can always see cracks, right? When there's cover up, you always see cracks, always, because there's no way you can always cover up the truth of what happened, because the whole world knows about it. And so I thought, okay, green screens, no matter how well done, you cannot prop it up in a place like that. So I put in teddy bears in the shape of Winnie the Pooh to prop them up, and they have green screen outlines. And those of you who don't know what this reference is, it's Winnie the Pooh is banned in China. And why that is because some people used Winnie the Pooh as the code name for Xi Jinping, for the dead president, who has in recent years killed off all his rivals to become the forever leader. So yeah, this is another dictator right there. sitting up right now. So yeah, you always have to remind people about shit like this, and that's why this whole thing is done. Anyway, yeah. I don't know if that answered you about that.
Yes, thank you.
About the story, yeah.
Thank you. And I think the way that you blend it with your particular style is really remarkable because, like, I was just thinking of like Guernica and Picasso. You know, like that's a noticeably like heavy piece, right? So when you look at it, you get that it's political commentary, but you're not getting like any sort of like softness to it or another layer to it. And with your art, like at first glance, unless you really like look and understand, you're not going to get it. So I love that you basically are giving folks like two pieces of artwork: the surface one that is aesthetically pleasing and beautiful and has those elements of the pop culture and the manga, but then the other significance, and that you're able then to do that and spread that message in areas that aren't necessarily welcoming to that art. I think it's really brilliant how you present it. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you about that. But anyway, I don't just do political stuff as well. When I started to immerse myself into this Web3 culture, I saw a lot of things that would not have been well accepted in out there. A lot of cult building, personality cults. We saw so many of this, and and at the same time, I also realized that my perception of reality was changing. Because before this, I wouldn't understand a single thing about all the terms about WAGMI, LFG, and GM. I didn't. I was like, yeah, GM, right? I mean, you say GM, you shout it out in a public space, you probably get a few people shouting it back, and
they probably
in
shout
place
back
you
something
shout it
else,
out.
probably. Yeah.
So yeah, so I started drawing about that experience, which led up to because at the time I think what it was a lot of shield spaces. Make you wait for 12 hours before your turn. Yeah, I see you guys remember this. So yeah, so I took those time to draw about that. About sleeping, about hallucinations, and that. And when that run, I think I did 20 of those. When that ended, I started doing the current ones in the foundation series. I didn't have a name for it. I just thought, okay, this is something going on. There's a lot of things about feeling going on there. There's a lot about our perception changing, our identity changing. Because look, who's talking to you right now? I don't know, because it seems that I've turned into this other version of me. Another Chun-Li, which didn't exist before. I wouldn't have talked so freely before. In my country, if I talk freely about things, I would be in trouble. Very often, I'll be in trouble. But right now, this because it's like I put up a superhero mask, and I'm saying whatever. I just say things as they are. I don't care. And so I use the same thing to confront a lot of the bullshit here. I just say it as they are, so I get blocked by a lot of people too. But I hope that will help other people, from becoming their victims and all that. Then you see, so you see drawings. I use cyberpunk. I use it because it's not because it looks cool. All the wires and all, it's more, it's better looking than wireless technologies. I mean, if you draw stuff of today, everything looks so small. There's no wires. You don't know what's going on. If I want to draw someone being brainwashed, you can't draw it without wires. You have to include that. So I use that. So there's I don't know which one you're looking at right now, but a lot of those artworks with all these cables and stuff, I use basically it's about brainwashing, about how you are molded into another consumer, things like that. So I've been exploring this and doing this for a year plus, and then earlier this year I was connected to someone who's in charge of gatekeeping for the 14th Florence Biennale. Yeah, because I think someone really liked my work and thought, okay, I think you must try this. I'll connect you to this curator because this middleman knows this curator and say, okay, this presenter. So I used this portfolio and I showed it to the guy. Or rather, we didn't meet in person because we are in different global places, right? So he saw it and he rejected it straight away, saying that it's not good enough for Florence, forget about it and all. And I thought, okay, this guy probably doesn't understand this whole thing because he just looked at it from a very surface level. It's very comic book. So he's probably thinking Renaissance. He doesn't want to see too far away from that. Anyway, I did a bit of research and I found a way to send it into the main jury. And what happened was I just thought, okay, I want to get the rejection letter because they're fun to collect, right? Sometimes, except it didn't come until end of May. Or was it last week of May when the email came saying that congratulations, you're one of the 10 finalists of the open call competition. And I was like, what? Wait a minute, is this a prank? What's going on? So anyway, that whole portfolio actually fit the theme, which is called I Am You, which is an exploration of identities. So my artwork about identities, this resonated with them. So again, when your work, no matter how they look like, as long as they have a strong narrative in them, they make it stronger somewhat. So don't just do styles, people. You have to tell a story, and that's how I do a lot of my work. It's always a thought, not so much about how it's going to look like because I don't know yet. So I'll write it down. Maybe this is my training as doing architecture before, and then doing photography. Because a lot of times you have an idea, it's always in the form of a short story, right? A line, a few words, a couple of words. And that's how a lot of my artworks are. Sometimes they are a very long title, like your virtual you is a perfect you, like obey, like retweet. No, right? Oh no, it was someone to call again. Like, follow, retweet, obey. That's the person I did in this series. And this one got exhibited in a lot of places around the world. And yeah, so anyway, there's some as short as type as short as comply. So things like that, or beautify. So anyway, this portfolio got into the Florence Biennale and in the contest, and they didn't know that it's on a blockchain. So in a way, I think what's happening here is we are changing the perception of our NFTs on urban blockchain for these traditional people. And I think this is going to be something really good. Because usually before this, they always spat on it, right? It's like, oh, this is a scam. What's this? You don't understand because it's like witch burning. People don't understand it. They reject you. They hunt you down and say no. Because I shared this news with another art community that didn't like blockchain stuff. I said, okay, look, Florence Biennale, top 10, basically it is top 10 and it's on a blockchain. Look, things are changing now. A renaissance is really happening. A digital renaissance is really happening. And I got kicked out from that group. Banned, rejected, cancelled. So yeah, so people like that refuse to understand. But it's our I don't know, responsibility, is that the word, as artists, to bring about a message of change if we can. No matter what it is, it can be something like, I don't know, very broad, like, oh yes, change the politics of the world. It can be, very, very ambitious in that way, or it can be something really small, still like just change perceived kindness or whatever. And so it just happened that I think like accidentally I'm doing, let's change the perception of our NFT for awesome. Mainstream.
That's so cool. And
so anyway,
no, I love that, and it's so cool. I mean, it's awesome. Like, and congrats that you were able to. I love that you actually went around that person and like, all right, I'm going to get it to the panel, and you found a way to get your art, your art viewed by those people, and that something that's now being created as NFT art, is there amongst all this other classical art as well. So that's so awesome. And one of the things I kind of following on the topic you were mentioning about what your intentions are with the art and the message and the story. I know I also read in an interview you did for Polygon Alliance that although your art, you don't have like a particular like manifesto or something driving your art, but that you also did have an intention to break like social and gender divides. And I was curious if you could tell us a little bit more about that intention and why it matters to you.
Well, like I say, it's like an alter ego thing. So, okay, what happened was when I got into space, nobody cared about who I was, what I did before, even though I went to, let's say, photography spaces. And I was just listening to a lot of people who really didn't know what the hell we were talking about, when it comes to the technique, when it comes to the art itself. So I always tried to share, but they didn't care. It is, and I found out they were all like, talking about Instagram, like how people on Twitter didn't care about them, and they don't like the selfies. Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah. Anyway, that was then, and then my device started acting up. Always heated up. It shuts down when I run spaces, and so I stopped going to spaces for a few months. And in that time, there was this whole perception thing going on. People thought that I was a guy, or woman or whatever. Okay, I would, and whatever. It's just, it was so strange. So I started playing along with it and going, okay, if these people think I'm a guy, because it's all in written form, right? I'll play the guy. I'll be the Choen. If they want me to be Choen, I'll be Choen. And some people thought that, oh, it's a girly girl. Then I'll be the Chloe. So when someone told me a few months later, oh, you can actually go onto spaces using an emulator, Android emulator on your PC. Oh, I can't remember who the guy is, but I forgot to write. I mean, I don't know. There are just so many people in my following now. I lost the guy. I feel so sorry because I really owe him a lot for introducing me to emulators. So the first space I went into, I music, but managed to do was I hope I managed to do anyway. Is to break down a bit of barriers of the gaps between this, and that's why right now I just tell people that I am a robot without gender, beyond gender. And this thing actually works if you speak Cantonese or if you speak any of the Malay languages in Southeast Asia, because the pronoun for he and she and they are the same words. So there's no he, no she. It's just the same word. And I was thinking in one of those languages when I thought this idea up. I was like, oh wow, this is great. And someone asked me, so am I supposed to call you a he or she right now? Oh shit, it doesn't work in English. So yeah, this was always a joke about this. Oh, there's a limitation in the English language, a real limitation because we all have to be categorized so neatly into boxes, which is great for science. It is, but then sometimes we want to do things based on merit of what we can do, rather than because of what we are. So a lot of times I get invited to, all these women's, whatever, this and that. And I always thought, no, I want to get away from this. Let's not have crutches anymore for whatever race you are, or whatever gender you are, or whether you have no legs, no arms, or we try to make it level without thinking that way, because this is bigotry in another way. It's just so condescending a lot of times when people talk about your so-called disability. We are disabled in a way because you're a woman. The kind of things like, what the fuck? Can we go beyond that right now? And that's what I've been trying to do with this space so far. Except, of course, after a while, I just got so embroiled in this culture here. I just got lost. I got lost, and I lost direction in that. So yeah, in that interview, it was very nice what I said, all that. I still hope to get there, but I have to say I have failed. I have failed in this task, to break down gender roles. I think we need more people to try this, to do this. So, but I think I managed to break down social barriers in a way, because last year, remember NFT NMC last year, it was very gate kept. A lot of people couldn't get in. Only very selected circles got in. So I and some people thought up, why don't we do an alt fest? And we did this like, I don't know, a day before NFT NYC was going to start. And I just started a special thing called Off NFT NYC. And I tweeted out and I said, oh, just share the stuff here, whatever. The floor's open. I'll just curate it from whatever you guys share. And it filled up within a day. And so I opened up another level. And in the end, there were like at its peak 400 artists from everywhere. Then I also, of course, look for people I know in regions that did not have power or they couldn't really get internet access most of the time. And that's why they have great art, but they cannot join shows. And so we had artists from villages in Kenya. We have people from, I think, Lebanon. Lebanon has got, what's his name, Ginger Potter, who's really good at it. But apparently what's going on there is they only have 10 hours of power every day. And that's why a lot of them couldn't access a lot of things as well. So yeah, I started putting all this together. And then it apparently trended against NFT NYC during that week. I didn't know, but some people who look out for these things sent me a DM congratulating me. And I thought, no, this is a group effort. What are we talking about? I didn't know what it meant. But this year, we saw what happened with NFT NYC. It basically let everybody in. There's no gatekeeping at all. And then the problem is that when you have no standards, you don't set standards all, you really get a bag that's too mixed, way too mixed, and I don't know, you still need to curate somewhat. You can't just, if you don't want to gatekeep, you can let people in, but you still have to curate it in such a way that things actually look good together. And that's something they like. But anyway, I think that's gatekeeping destroyed in a way, but I still see a lot of them in a lot of places. People are actually putting them up now in the metaverse because they want to make money out of it. So yeah, you want to join our party? Yay, this party's token, join in. Or you want to join our whatever show, not just metaverse, but in whatever exhibition. Buy our token and maybe you can show something. Still, yeah. In the end, capitalism still requires it, I guess, because we want to make money, don't we? Back to you guys.
Yeah. No, and I think, although you were saying like you feel haven't done enough on things on the, the gender divide. I mean, I think just speaking out about these kind of things is already, doing something, and even, your intention there was saying, I'm a robot beyond gender, and identifying that. And I think, I think there is, it's important that that I think to try to get to a point where it shouldn't matter, right, whether you're what gender you are, right, you should still be value, or not necessarily value, but your work and everything should be recognized for what it is, right, and not who you are, where you come from, and what you identify as, right. So and one thing I find very interesting about this space is that I've actually met and connected with a lot of people that I don't even know what gender they are, and at the same time, and I've become friends, and it doesn't matter. I don't really care, but sometimes when it's like a bit ambiguous, and or the name or whatever is androgynous, it's like I don't know, but again, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't prevent me from being able to be friends with somebody, or even if the person isn't doxxed, for example, and I don't know who they are, where they're from, that those things shouldn't stand in the way of them still being able to realize like their dreams and their accomplishments, and put out work that they want to do. So I commend you for having that intention and bringing up this subject, because I think that is already in and of itself doing something to further the cause. And
yeah.
Sorry.
No, thanks. I just want to say thanks, because there seemed to be like an awkward silence.
No, it's all good. It's all good. And one other thing I did want to ask you about was if you could tell us a little bit more about your process for creating your digital artwork. Like, do you start already with like an idea in mind and build on that, or do things kind of maybe just come up more intuitively? I'm just kind of curious, like how does your process look like for creating the artwork that you make?
Okay, let's go back to my photography days, because that is it's creating cinema in stills in a way, and I always have like a story, as how visuals, movies work. photo shoots work. You have a little bit of a premise about how it should look like, and then I always draw them down from there. This could be very simple. I don't draw very finished looks because I'm working with other experts like wardrobe stylists, hairstylists, makeup artists. Basically other people. It's a whole team of people doing work, but I do the lead about how my vision, what's going to be about for the shoot shot in the end. So that's the drawing. I give to them, and it's not tell them this is the story roughly along these lines. But on the day of the shoot, we see how the model reacts to it, and or the celebrities. A lot of times it's celebrity, and yeah, let's see how it is, and then we improvise from there, but we have everything ready for it. So now that I'm just doing drawings, I just do the same thing. I have a thought in my head, then I talk to nobody because they're not around. Just talk to myself, and very sad. But actually, I enjoy this because I can do whatever I want. The only problem is I don't know if it's good or bad. So I can spend like I don't know weeks or months drawing something on me to come to the conclusion that okay, this is a piece of shit. I don't really want to finish it anymore. But anyway, it's the same thing. I just draw it and just draw and draw and draw. So last year, I think early last year, I was still drawing ink on paper, scan them in, and then I paint them up in Photoshop. Now I bought myself a really shitty piece of plastic tablet for about $20, I think. Yeah, because I don't have much money, so I have to use this. It's so laggy, so I draw very slowly these days. And so the process is still that I still draw it like that. A thought in my head, I write it down somewhere about what the premise is, and I just work on it. So that's one of the processes. The other one is an observation of what's going on around me. And that's also where my stories come from, of course. But it could be something in real time, like the Iran protest. When it broke out in late September, I think, I didn't know what it meant, Masa Amini murdered, because I have a lot of friends from there. They were telling me, they were showing me videos, pictures, and just how scared they are about what's going to happen, because the whole thing was they told me people are hungry, they have no jobs, or they're getting really shit paid, they can't afford anything. And when I asked them, okay, so how much do you earn, and what do you have to spend when you are at work to buy food? And it just doesn't make sense. They just simply cannot afford to eat. They go hungry, and that's why there were so many angry people. And then the protest got bigger and bigger, and so I thought, okay, something has to be done about this. A lot of them are too scared to speak up publicly because, the cops, they were actually shooting at people in the crowd. And it's just dangerous. And I understand that, about all this protest because I've been in some, and yeah, they can get quite heavy-handed sometimes. So I made basically a very cartoonish piece called For a Different Tomorrow. I didn't want to say a better tomorrow or a worse tomorrow. This is going to be different. Hopefully the protest will lead to something different. And that artwork, I just spread up I wanted to give for free to the public. I set it up in Tezos, like object, but the platform wouldn't allow it. So I set it up at 1 cent, I think, or 0.01 Tezos, basically to give away 500 copies. And it sold out. Basically, it sold out. Fully collected. And hopefully that would have gone to a lot of eyes, and I think it did because that artwork was part of something that ONBD and Art Crush put up in Brussels. It's a few weeks later. And in that, they do projected artwork into the heart of Brussels onto a city wall, basically. And there were some Iranian artists, the brave ones. They just don't care. They just thought that, okay, my life is shit anyway. So what's worse? It can't get worse. So I'm just gonna put my name out there. And I really respect those So they put their names out there, and they had the artworks, and my artwork was part of it. And so, yeah, protesting. Protest work. Okay. Anyway, I just saw your message. Questions. Okay. Sorry. Back to you guys. I rambled too much.
No, not at all. That was we just wanted to go ahead and go to another question since you are so good. You already covered it with your explanation, so thank you for your answer. I did have a question, and you touched a bit on this about like Art Crush, and you've been exhibited in many places worldwide. What advice or tips would you give artists who are looking to increase the visibility of their art?
Okay. Now it's quite good. It's quite easy. There is this website called Join, JOYN.XYZ. And a lot of these open calls now are partnering with them. So what you can do is go there, look out for all these open calls. And it's very easy to put your name out there right now because of Web3 space, crypto art. Because it's not just artists anymore, we are connected to each other. We are transparent. We see what each other are doing. So it's much easier to ask each other, are these group predators, or are they really making the space go forward? We can ask each other that. And so with Join, we can see what open calls there are, and we can put our work in as long as we follow the rules. And other things you can do is, okay, this is what I'm doing as well. I don't just look for anything that's NFT related. I'm also going for mainstream shows because we have to keep pushing this until the world can accept our NFTs as mainstream. So right now, some of them they cost a lot of money because especially the non-sponsored shows, smaller shows. It's always like this. When you hold your own exhibitions, they always cost a lot of money. So you have to be prepared for that, or find yourself a patron. That's hard. I mean, these days a lot of these so-called patrons, they have kind of died off because they put all their money on shit coins. Unfortunately, yeah. You have to look for them in the real world. If you come from the real gallery circuit, I think it's easier because even I think when they find out how easy it is to connect to the rest of the world now, I think they'll be interested in as well. Like that's how I got into the Florence Biennale, So you can try any biennales, but just watch out because a lot of them are just carrying the name Biennale. They're not really that. Just look up for a track record and what they do. I don't have much experience in this as well, I have to be honest, because in all my years of doing all this, I can count in one hand how many exhibitions I've done. And it's only sometimes because some clients or sponsors really want, that show me out. And even then, I don't turn up in those unless the contract says so. Okay. Anyway, yeah, make use of that join.xyz, and from there you can find a lot. And of course, if you have some spare coins, unfortunately or fortunately, you can buy tokens for a lot of these people who do exhibitions. Art Crush is one of them. And even though you have to invest in their company, it doesn't mean that you can show because they really, really curate their work. They really, really curate your work of what can go up into the shows. Yeah, so that's all I can say. Join.xyz. They're really good. Back to you guys.
Great advice. Thank you so much. And that join was with a Y, correct? JOYN?
That's right, JOYN.
Perfect. I just wrote it down. Thank you.
You're welcome. And okay, actually, I am open on one of the pages, and you guys who are into doodles, cartoons, there is one right now open for another 3 days. Let's go there and let's thumb your doodle in. And wait, it seems they're selling it as well. So yeah, this stuff for that. It's very interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all the good advice, for sure. So, and one other thing I wanted to ask you as well was you recently, shared a tweet that where you basically were, and it was actually talking about the Florence Biennale, right? Like that you mentioned that, like in the past, you've had works that won industry level awards and all that, but that you always felt kind of like detached about them. And then it wasn't until this, like becoming a finalist in this and getting your artwork, selected for this Florence Biennale, that you felt very proud of this work and it bridging, this new technology with old tradition. And I was curious, like, if you could tell us a little bit more about why you feel like, why do you think you feel like that, more of that connection now, and more proud of like this work than maybe a lot of the other things, and all the accomplishments you might have had before in photography and some of the other things that you did?
Giancarlo, can you hear me?
Because
you okay. Just now you were breaking up, so I could hardly hear anything.
Oh, you couldn't hear the question? Oh, okay, no, it's okay. I can repeat it. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So no.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Say it again.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll try. No, okay. This is right.
Okay, cool. No, and yeah, so you had posted a tweet recently, and where you mentioned that, like, in the past you had works that won all these like industry awards, but that somehow you always felt detached about them, and that now with like the artwork that with which you became a finalist for the Florence Biennale, you felt more proud of it, versus, and more of a connection to it than some of the other work you had. And I was curious if you had given any thought as to like why you feel like you're more proud and connected to some of this work that now was selected for the Florence Biennale.
It's okay. One aspect of it is when I was in my teens and I was doing those cartoons, getting them published, I wanted to go into the comic book industry, but I was in the wrong country, too far away from the States, and I didn't really know what to do about that. I got into architecture out of, what's the word to use? Accidentally got into architecture. Yeah, I think that's how it happened. Okay, a bit of a segue here. How I got into architecture was, it was a compromise. At the time I was taking up, despite doing cartoons and doing all these things, I was actually studying in college in the pre-U level, pure science, biology, physics, and maths. Oh my fucking goodness, what the fuck was I doing there? I say, sorry, I think this really deserves the expertise. But somehow there was I saw a newspaper ad, a small little one at the corner, that there's going to be an open interview by the professor of one of the architecture schools from London, and he was in town, my town, on a certain day. And I thought, hey, this looks like a good compromise. I know my sciences. I love to draw. I don't know what architecture really is. Buildings are probably quite boring, but I can do something. At least I was to be drawing. So I went there, and I had no real portfolio. I saw all the other youths like me carrying their huge cases of artworks, of drawings, of stuff that's got to do with buildings, because they were actually studying pre-university level thing, architecture and shit. And I had comic books stuff and cartoons, and I did sculpture at the time. I actually won awards for them. I did a lot of shit, right? So I showed photos of that, some photos I've taken, whatever I can draw, and I'll show it to the guy. And I really respect him, because he just said like something about potential. I mean, that's what the letter said. Again, went back home, didn't think much about it. Thought, okay, maybe probably a rejection letter, something. But the letter that came was a very well detailed acceptance letter. Why I was accepted. and it's all about potential and stuff like that. And so I didn't understand that. I just showed it to my father, and he was just shocked, and so I think I was taking A levels at the time, and I didn't dare talk about this at even back then. But I actually didn't sit for the final exam because I got the acceptance into university with some drawings of comic book art and pictures of sculptures, small sculptures, not big ones, and this very rudimentary drawings and stuff. So I thought, wow, this must be like arts in a way. So I got in there, and I just treated it like a few years of art school, with buildings, and somewhat just to architecture. And so, oh wait, am I answering you? So what was the question again? Oh, how about yes? And that's why even when I got into photography, and okay, I love photography. I do. But what's that? The one is for, let's say, magazine covers, for ads, for whatever shit like that. It's not. I did bring some personal ones, but it just felt detached because it's not like the first love, in a way. So when I'm not drawing pop culture, very manga stuff like that, I enjoyed this even when I was doing the photography part time. So that's why when I got this in, and I just felt like, wow, not even the uh, the real OGs, the real masters of the genre can say that they got into something like this with their portfolio. And here I am, like a bloody pretender, getting in into a top 10. And that's why, in a way, I feel proud, but yet at the same time, thinking about it, I'll probably overthink and think, oh, I am an imposter, am I? Yeah, sure, that's what I am an imposter. I don't belong there, and things like that. So anyway, yeah. So that's why I don't know if that answers you or not. But that's the answer.
Yeah, no, it definitely answers, and it's cool because now it's with the art form that you loved, that first love, that you were able to get that award. So that's so cool. Love that. Jenny, we can go maybe your next question.
Sure. And before I do that, I wanted to just quickly say that I don't think that you should see yourself as an imposter. I think that things happen very much on purpose in this universe, and you were selected for a reason. So I'm really happy that you got that in the art style that you feel most attached to. So just wanted to say that. And I did want to ask if you could share what art you have recently minted for sale and where collectors can find it.
Okay, you can find me on Object. I do most of my experimental stuff there, and also things that use of censorship. I do it there as well, because it's just more fun there, not to make money and all. But on Ethereum, you can find me on Foundation. I love them because, okay, I'm very practical, being Asian and all. It's because they charge quite low fees for what they provide. So yeah, yay! Like Makerspace or Moon Origin, they charge like 15%, and they do not much. But I have to say, I love the community managers at Moon Origin. I really love them. They're very friendly, can be funny. Apparently, Makerspace have got great managers as well, but I don't know any of them. And yeah, the latest ebook I've minted is actually at Makerspace, but that has been sold already recently. Right now, I'm looking at the conditions of the market, and I'm also looking at what I've not been selling. I don't actually sell much stuff, I don't. Collectors mostly go around saying, yeah, we've collected Chun-Li, and then I tell them, no, it's actually have not collected from me. Then they check me, oh, okay. Then they go to Object and buy a cheap one, So it's quite funny in a way. But yeah, so I'm concentrating on trying to finish moving the ones on Foundation right now, the unsold ones. But then again, I have to segue from your question a bit because something interesting happened recently that got me thinking that we have to stop looking for collectors within the Web3 space. they look at them. They're turning themselves into so-called artists using AI right now to make their money back, right? And even this today, one of them bitched about how nobody's buying their stuff. And finally, one of them has kind of experienced what it's like to be an artist when nobody buys your stuff. And he's selling it for quite a lot of money, open edition too. Anyway, what happened recently was this. Someone I've known for a long time in real world came to me after news broke out of the Florence Biennale thing, and he offered me a large sum of money, and he was apologetic. Says that, okay, I don't have that much to spend, but here's this much money. Can you, it's not enough. Just give me a discount if we have known each other for a long time. Just sell me one of the artworks that's part of that portfolio. I did have some, but the thing is this: after I did the conversion from ETH to fiat, I showed it to him and say, "Oh, you know what? The sum you actually offered can buy all this up, all of it." And he lost interest. And he just kept, it's just strange. He wanted it when he perceived all these things as very valuable, and when he found out that so cheap to him, it's not cheap, but it's still cheap to him. He just didn't want it anymore. So people go out there bringing your collectors into this space because there is right now a discrepancy going on, and a lot of the collectors in this space right now, they're telling you, oh no, we can buy it for this much. They're trying to get it for cheap, right? And then of course there are some respectable ones who are also dealing with real life art world and also in here collecting stuff as well. You watch out for those. Like, okay, who's this? Mondo IR. He's opened a gallery in Dubai recently, and his collection of real life art collection is just crazy because he's got climate control warehouse and all, and yet at the same time he's also trying to push art NFTs, art on the blockchain as legitimate art. He's been going around to news, talk shows, and all that to talk about it. So watch out for collectors like that. Those are the ones you should support, help each other. Also watch out for people like Tech Bubble, Nick Kalyani with his DAO. He's got ideas of how to move this thing further as well, but it doesn't always work because it's quite new, right? This whole thing. So so support the collectors who actually try to support the space, not the ones who ask you to put their name into your artwork minted and then they might just buy it. Those are predators. Forget them. Okay, and those are also the ones who create harems and ask for certain pictures sometimes. Just watch out for those. Anyway, before I forget again, bring in your friends who like art into this space. They don't have to collect anything. Just get them at least look at the art culture here, because we are definitely developing something that's, what's the word to use, a bit endemic. Let's use the word because I'm just thinking of pandemic. Fucking hell, endemic to this Web3 space right now. So a lot of people from the outside probably look in and go, "Wow, this is so weird, so strange." But if you bring enough of them in here as art enthusiasts, people love art, not to make, or maybe they want to make candles, but to enjoy it. Maybe they can slowly change the perception as well. And some of them might actually be the collectors of the arts who spends a lot of money on big pieces. They might do the same here. So yeah.
Thank you for
I don't know.
that was really great. I'm going to definitely check out your work on Foundation. And I think the other points that you made are very fair and very on point. We actually had a guest some weeks ago who also touched on that issue of like being mindful of certain collectors who don't have the best intentions. So thank you for reiterating that as well.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point too about, I think the importance of trying to get other people that are art enthusiasts and that just love the art to just kind of come and see like the amount of like amazing art that's being like created every day in this space, because even like forget about the technology and NFTs and blockchain and all this stuff, but like there's a lot of artists on here making so much, cool art every day, so many different styles. I mean, just being in this space and really, learning more about artists and seeing stuff is giving me almost a whole new appreciation of art. Like I used to love art like my whole life. I made it growing up and, didn't collect that much, because I didn't have a whole lot of money growing up, but yeah, it's really given me such a big appreciation. And now, with things even like Tezos and all that, you can find things for affordable price, and I think, yeah, like the more we can bring awareness to like the art side of it, and not as you said in the beginning, like don't come for the flips, come for the art, buy the art. Yeah, I think that's really what's going to really help this space to grow and mature, and hopefully then people will see value and, hey, I can support artists this other way and collect stuff, digitally as well. And I know in other spaces, I know one that Jenny like co-hosts as well, Collectors Corner on Thursdays. There's been some people that are very big art collectors that have traditionally collected physical works, and they've literally like run out of space to put physical art in their homes, and that's why they also now have turned also to digital and NFTs, and now they're like, all right, I'd rather, now I can buy a screen and display my art, and I can change things up, or I can do stuff in VR or whatever, so yeah, so I think it also creates this whole other way to be able to experience and appreciate art. So I think, yeah, the more we can, of people that we know that have an appreciation for it, bring them, introduce them to other artists, I think that's definitely going to help the space grow. So I think that's good advice. And one thing, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it just reminded me, I did meet some collectors who had to buy up entire blocks of buildings just to put their stuff in. And then, yeah. Yeah, yes, it's
crazy.
So they yeah, back to you.
Yeah, no. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, so, you mentioned, the different places that you have your artwork available. And before the interview, I was kind of looking at, the different pieces and stuff you have. And I noticed one thing that was kind of interesting to me, which was that like some of the pieces you have on Object, you have a very interesting approach to selling those. Like I noticed that some of them were like all offer based. And so you didn't actually like list it for something. You just said, okay, like, people can just offer to buy it or buy it from other collectors. And I was curious why you decided to go that route and how it's worked for you so far, because I know like that's one thing that, as artists, people are always thinking like, oh, what do I price this at? How do I sell it? So I was just kind of curious why you went that direction and how it's gone with that approach.
Okay, I think you're thinking about the one that says that the title is "When is the Bull Coming Back?"
Yeah.
And no, for that because I'm taking the piss again on the whole shitcoin situation. So anyone who comes in and makes offers are part of the art performance. So the whole thing's a little fun game, and I'm not really in to make money because there was one person who kept making lowball offers, and I accepted them. This for fun. And then someone else came in with a higher offer, and then this person suddenly made 5 times within half an hour. So things like that. I just thought, hey, this is just like this shitcoin thing.
Wow, it's like the same thing but happening with the NFT. Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't understand it. So what I did was I finally put in a listing price. But then I wrote down this is an indicative price. And so you keep making offers, I still maybe accept, maybe not. I don't care, right? I mean, I care, but I just want to rig the game in a bit. And so someone came in with an offer last time. I took it and then I raised the price up. It's so fun. So what's going to happen is whoever comes in with another offer next, I'll just drop the price down, maybe, or maybe I'll raise it up double. Who knows? So yeah, it's really not to make money. Sorry, guys, this is not a good advice if you're in for a profit. It's just fun and games. But okay, wait. There was another thing I tried before. Was during Halloween when I did a series of works that's basically screen caps. screenshots of screenshots of screenshots of screenshots. So it just becomes an infinite loop of screenshots with a different title on each screenshot every time. Basically, it was to protest. Where there were so many Halloween events on Tezos on Object at the time, so I made this to take the mickey out of it. And so I started off at, I don't remember how much it was, but each time I did a new mint, I halved the price. I kept halving it until I couldn't halve it anymore. I can't remember what was the last one, but it was a song at the end. So yeah, that's a little bit of fun. And I did all that within one space. I think it was an object space or some Tezos community space, and it was fun. And then someone came in and bought up everything, or bought up quite a lot of something, and started saying, "I'm gonna burn it all. I'm gonna burn it all if you don't do this and that." And so I let him burn. And the more he burned, the more he cried. He was actually crying on stage because he's asking money. Yeah, I forgot what it was about, but so yeah, have fun, guys. But that doesn't answer your question.
No, it's okay. No, I just wanted to understand and you did answer, because I was just curious, why you decided to do that. It was really just more for fun, right? Just to all right, let me try this out and kind of see what happens, and almost poke fun at the whole meme coin kind of thing. So no, that does answer the question for sure. And one other thing I want to ask you. So I noticed you had a really awesome spatial gallery. So I kind of went in there and looked around and all that, and just thought it was just so nicely laid out, and wanted to get some of your thoughts on the metaverse and what you think its role is in curating and experiencing digital art. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's great. Because when this technology develops further, and it will always develop further. It's always, but at the same time, it's dependent on hardware, right? So I like spatial because you can use a 10-year-old, 12-year-old machine, and it can still load okay. And you don't have to travel around. You can be in, let's say, in Vietnam, and then you can go to a gallery, have a meeting with somebody from, I don't know, Bogota or something. And oh my goodness, my voice. Yeah, and yeah, so we can basically throw events together and have everyone from around the world very quickly come together. But of course, people are also complaining, but we don't get to hug and do I don't know, drinks and stuff with each other. You can have that, but you can also have this. I think they complement each other really well. Especially when most people don't actually have the means to travel. For example, where I am, you asked me to go join a conference in, I don't know, Barcelona or New York. I have to say that I can never afford it. So yeah, this technology is great. And actually, what happened was so early last year, I introduced this to one of the world's biggest media agencies. Yeah, this is perks of having worked in the creative industry for a long time and meeting people who eventually climb up to the roles of top boss. And also introduced them at whole office to spatial, and I showed them what you can do, not this gallery, you can have meetings and all, and in the head said, wow, we can actually do conferences like this without having to get off our ass and get together. And then another one said that they don't have to book meeting rooms anymore, because you can just throw everyone together into this space and talk it out. Especially, you can also share live screens, can share live video screens of you, and also it works. So yeah, I just think it's great. There are so many of them right now, not spatial. Recently, I've seen something called Helix coming up. That one looks like great, but I think you need a very new, powerful computer to work in it. I've seen what else? There's On Cyber that was totally Web3, so you need everything minted to show. And oh yeah, why I like spatial is because you can put in anything at all. It don't have to be Web3. It can be a recreation of the Louvre artworks. If you have visited the Louvre, take pictures of those things on display. You can create your own little hallway of that museum as well. You know, you don't have to mint it. So yeah, I just think that the possibilities are endless. It's endless. And oh, by the way, I see you walking around in Gallery One. Actually, have got quite a few galleries, and if you go through the portals, you can visit the other ones as well. And yeah, so and that's also how I managed to put together 400 artists from all around the world, to one space, to one event that rivaled for a short time the NFT NYC, the real thing. Okay, the portal is the round globe thing. Just click on that and you go there. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, back to you guys. Oh, it's loading.
Waiting to see these new ones is amazing. And bravo to you, because that's such a cool alternative to NFT NYC. And like a real undertaking, you know, that you were able to amass 400 artists is just amazing to me.
Oh, caveat there. During the duration of NFT NYC, there wasn't 400, but I extended the show for 3 months. So I didn't do anything. I didn't promote my own work. I just promoted all these other people for free. I wasn't in it for the money. I was thought, you know, at the time, even then, I thought we can't just stick to this Web3 and depend on the collectors here. And, you know, having come from a commercial world, I've seen a lot of artworks by all these artists who do really well in commercial arts. And so I showed these people to creative directors, to you know, like the media people I've talked about before. You know, this is basically telling them, look, there are a lot of artists in these spaces like this. You can just come in. You know, sometimes you want to look for someone, you just come in, look at their portfolio. You can chat with them straight away through their whatever information that they've provided. And also, it works a bit like a three-dimensional yellow pages or three-dimensional website, except it's not so dense because you feel that you're there and you feel like you're looking at gigantic artworks, bigger than what you can actually find in real life physical galleries sometimes. And sometimes they move too. So I thought this is great. And especially if you have a VR headset, you can actually get motion sickness out of it. Because that's what happened to one of the guests last year. Bought himself a new VR set. He said, "Oh, let's go." Say, let's come. Okay, let's go. He didn't survive one level. He felt sick. He started. I just say, "Oh man, I need to go and vomit."
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot to take in for a newcomer, for sure.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't listen to the recording. Otherwise, go, bloody hell, you're talking about me. No, not to see quite a few of you. Sorry.
That's okay. I feel if you are ever listening, it's a common thing because the scale is just so immense. It's like a visceral experience. Like you don't usually have that feeling unless you were to go to a physical museum. So it makes a lot of sense. Plus, you have that device super close to you. So I totally get where he's coming from with that. But yeah, man, these other galleries are just phenomenal. And the fact that you're able to bridge those worlds, you know, like introduce people who aren't familiar to the metaverse or to Web3 to these amazing artists is phenomenal. Now, I have a question, tangent, honestly. Outside of art, what do you enjoy doing?
Okay, sorry, my mic was off. Okay. Let's put it this way. I hope that people won't blush. I've been stuck to this plastic chair for 25 hours a day for the last year and a half that I've developed rashes and discoloration on my butt that I've got no names for. And so what do I enjoy outside of art and Web3? I think nothing in the last year and a half because, okay, before I got into this, I baked a lot, I cooked a lot. I made sourdough bread with my own starter, develop its own flavor and all that. That took a while to develop, to grow. And within this year and a half, it's died in the fridge. So I can't say I even enjoy baking anymore because I'm not made one. So yeah, my family now has go through commercially baked breads. I'm so sorry, but what else do I enjoy? I don't know. I've not really gone out. I've become Web3 totally. Sadly, or not, I don't know.
Well, you're doing important work, and sometimes that requires you being completely devoted to that. So there's, nothing wrong with that either. And it's funny you mentioned the baking because there was a period of time during the pandemic where all I did was bake, like breads, banana breads, all that stuff. So
Right.
yeah, I feel you.
And making the dough and letting it sit and then letting it fold it and seeing the bubbles and all that. Yeah, wow. I might just do a starter. Yeah, I need to do this last night. So my mom has been complaining about this. Yeah, so I have to go back to it somewhat.
That's awesome. And I did want to mention to folks that are in the audience, if you guys want to request and come up to ask questions, feel free to request. I'm going to send you, AJ, a request as well, because I know you usually tell me you want me to challenge you to do that. So I just sent that over to you. But if also anyone else that's in the space wants to come up, feel free to request now. I had another fun question for you, Chun Li, because I was curious if are you a big fan of the video game like Street Fighter? Because I did see. So I know you mentioned in your profile that that your name is pronounced like the character Chun Li from the game, and there was also an artwork that you posted. I think that you were replying to someone saying I think it was one of the first NFTs you had sold, and it was actually like an image, and I'll share it over here, like a Blanca from Street Fighter eating noodles. So I was just kind of curious, like if you happen to really like the game or not, and if that's where why you had the reference there to Chun Li, the character, and other stuff.
That's the way. I've been made fun of forever with a name like this. So yes, this has become very much part of my life. I didn't really embrace it like this before Web3, but I realized that many people couldn't figure out how my name is pronounced. So I just thought, okay, this if I use this as a reference, it will help them. And that's it. But anyways, it's stuck. It's stuck. And about Blanca, yes. Because that the whole series is about pop culture references, pop culture characters, and that's why I thought Blanca is something quite memorable. So I use that for that. And whether I am a fan, okay, my character when I do play it is E Honda, that the fat one.
Yeah.
With the all I know how to do is to mash the button, the single button,
like,
and when
he does the fast hands.
Yes, because that's all I know how to do. So yeah, I don't really play it that much. I just watch other people play most of the time. Back then,
Yeah.
in arcades. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the game growing up, but yes, I was just curious. But that's cool. And I do see we got a few people up on stage. David, how you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going well, man. It's going well. How's your Friday been?
Good. Good. I'm at work, but I'm just listening in. I'm downstairs in my office. So. But yeah, I was just wanting to say this is just amazing to get to know. I'm so sorry. Is it Choen?
Chun Li.
No, okay. One of the things I do is throughout my life I've been collecting different pronunciations of my name. So I've been called on paper. I know people don't know how I look like. Over the phone, they call, hey, Mr. John Lee or Sean Lee or some whatever, all sorts. And more recently, because a lot of people here use funny names, right? So I've been called Clown Lee, Clone Lee, Chosen Lee, all sorts. So Yeah, Charlene even. So I don't know how that came about. Maybe I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can call me any up that.
I can definitely relate to that with my last name, Moriarty. It's some people add different letters to it and stuff, but yeah, I was just wanting to. I see you in the space all the time. Like your presence is very much, and it's just really a pleasure to get to know you and learn about you as an artist and your art and stuff. I like some of the activism type art that you do. One of my questions was I've done a lot of that type of art in the past, but I've always been, especially nowadays, been a little hesitant to show it because I don't know what kind of backlash I would get. But would you have any advice on just being able to be bold and show your art and not worry about what people say?
Yeah. Okay. At the okay, let's just put it this way. This version of me is like an alter ego. Like a hyper fictional version of me. Like how sometimes you see comedians, they do a show called their own name show, and they portray like a hyper version of themselves. So this is a bit like that. That's why I it's a bit like a role playing thing. So I put this mask up, this alter ego up to be more courageous and with less filter or no filter. So I don't know whether it's a mindset thing or maybe because I feel safer hiding behind this technology. And the great thing is this: you can don't reveal yourself, but yet if your work speaks um, to the crowd or the people because of what it says, people will still share it. So you could make use of this culture right here, I guess. But in real life, I don't know. It's a bit harder because you are really exposing yourself to everything. But again, at the same time, you just think about it. Does it matter? What is at stake here? What is at stake? What your work? What is at stake? Is it bigger than you? If it is, just put it out there because very often people don't see you; they see your work. You be safe. They cancel you, of course. They do that. People tend to do that. They cancel you over anything, so don't worry about it. If they do that, that means your piece of work is hitting the right notes somewhat. Yeah, I hope
Very
that makes
good.
sense.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. Like I've always thought of having like an alter ego in myself because I can be pretty out there sometimes, um, but yeah, I was just wanting to come up and say hi, and it was really nice to meet you and learn more about you. I was on your object, and I got a mural about Bali, which was a really phenomenal piece. Like the price is like a steal. So like, yeah, I just want to let other people speak now. But thank you so much. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you for picking up one piece like that. Yeah, people. I usually don't put my exhibition pieces at the kind of prices, but I thought, hey, I want more people to know about Balinese culture. I don't live there. I've only been there as a visitor, but I'm also one of those visitors who actually spends time with the locals. And what I've been seeing, especially because of NFT Bali, a lot of people perceive Bali as this almost like a theme park, a paradise theme park where the locals are the workers who are only there to serve you. And I thought that was just fucking wrong. Because of the way people talk about, oh yeah, we get together party and then we have all these people who will facilitate us because of their homes. The thing is, these people have been living there for a long time, hundreds of years, thousands of years, having developed their culture there. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll just put in all these things to people who don't see it, and especially things on the bottom left, that drawing. You see the offerings, which are all over the streets outside people's homes, because those are offerings to the guardian spirits of their street, or maybe this right outside the gate. And yeah, so I've asked them before, oh, so what happens? Why do people just leave them there? And okay, I can't remember what the practical reason is. I'm just thinking maybe they want to give it back to the animals as well. But okay, that's just me applying my filter to it. They told me why, I forgot. But they told me that once the incense burns out, that's it. They're supposed to pick it up and just remove it. But a lot of them don't, because for some of the reasons. And what if you step on it and they say, oh, not supposed to, but practically, because the whole roads can be filled with it sometimes. You just can't avoid it. You accidentally step on it. So it's just little things like that. I still wanted to let people know, people see what's going on there, especially that creature right in the middle, right? The effigy of monster, and that is the ogo ogo, which is actually something all the Balinese would put together for a few weeks and then parade it around the island for a day, uh, and then burn it at night during a big festival. And that whole idea is to throw away all the bad vibes, burn away all the bad vibes, scare away all the bad vibes, bad spirits. And then the next day is Nepi, which is the day of silence where everyone stays home and whole island is the silence. And I just thought that, this is something that I could draw about, because that's what I experienced when I went there a long time ago and went through Nyati. And it was an amazing cultural and spiritual experience. Never experienced an entire island or anywhere so quiet for one whole day. And yeah, so anyway, that's that. Thanks for picking that one up. Thank you, David. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
sounds like a beautiful experience.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And actually, by the way, we do have one of the guests who's in the room, Anastasia NFTR. She actually lives in Bali as well. So I thought she'd also appreciate that artwork as well. But yeah, thank you so much, David, for coming up and for asking that question. And you picked up an artwork from one of our guests. So I appreciate that as well. All right. And I know the next person we had in the speaker stage was Akash. How are you doing today?
Hey, how are you? So, to be honest, this represents an act of resistance and undeniably remarkable conversation. And it's my absolute honor to be here always. And I always express my deepest gratitude to my wonderful hosts, cute Jennifer and incredible Giancarlo. So, weekdays mainly for work, but Fridays are for embracing and joy of living. In the absence of Netflix and documentary these days, I have been immersing myself more into arts and NFT works, learning and gaining inspirations. However, I would like to extend my deeply appreciation gratitude to you, ma'am. Actually, I would love to call you ma'am. So, to be honest, you are truly a fantastic person. Since Giancarlo posted that this spaces is about to happen, since that day, the clock was ticking. I started following your works, and a couple of days ago, I have been captivated by their amazing quality. I do believe knowledge is indeed power, and I truly believe that in that cliche. So, I have a question. What has the transition to this world, and how has the transition to this world of NFTs and Web3 technology influenced your artistic process and creative expression? And another question, how as an NFT artist, how do you find inspiration and stay motivated to continually explore new creative frontiers in the Web3? Thank you, ma'am.
Please don't call me that. Just call me by my name. I've always been telling people that don't use titles. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, thanks for that. Okay, the first question. Did you say Kardashians? Because that sounds like a very weird question there. Okay, can you elaborate on the first question again?
Yeah, my question is, how has the transition to the world of NFT and Web3 technology influenced your artistic process and creative expressions?
Oh, conditions.
Yeah.
Okay, conditions. It 100%. I'll say 100% because when I came in here, okay, I drew all the comic book and pop culture stuff, right? That was my Genesis series. 60 over pieces of that, and then after that, I just started drawing about my experiences here in Web3 and how my life was slowly changing. And after that, I just started drawing everything about the changing identities, because that's what I mean. Like, I'm this alter ego of me, which is quite strange. It's quite strange because I think I've actually become this alter ego. I don't know who I am anymore in a way. So yeah, this whole thing is, of course, got me thinking about um, Philip K. Dick's writings. The guy who wrote "Do Android Dream of Electric Sheep," which became the movie Blade Runner. The movies is this, like, very cool looking, very action and all that, but the book itself is a lot denser, and it questions a lot about what is real, what is not. And I've always been fascinated by that. And right now, going through this experience here, it seems like whatever he wrote about all those years ago is happening. What is reality? I don't know anymore. So yeah, definitely, it has affected me very much. Influence, not even use the word influence. It has changed my way of looking at things. Uh, so okay, I hope that answers you. I don't know if I did. Secondly, what was the NFT artist? No, okay, I am an artist. In fact, I've never really called myself an artist. It was always my friends and other people who called me that. I just thought that, I'm just this person here, sometimes drawing stuff, sometimes taking pictures, sometimes doing this, sometimes doing that. So no, what is an NFT artist? You are this artist. You're just an artist who happen to produce work that's minted on a blockchain. That's how I look at it. And stuff on a blockchain means non-fungible token, but that could mean anything. It could mean a cert of provenance for a watch. Because I met someone who started a business selling used luxury timepieces. That's the word they use for expensive watches, timepieces. And in place of paper certs, he used NFT as digital certs. So his idea was, if you want to use this thing as an investment, you can just keep the contract, the stamp, the cert, the NFT, the paper. I mean, the digital paper, whatever. Say that you're the owner of this piece that's sitting in our safe. But if you want to wear it, then there is some other mechanisms that they have to go through to take the watch out from the safe, or wherever, and take it out or some stuff. So yeah, it can mean so many different things. There's so many applications for NFT. So why do you want to call yourself NFT artist? You're not. If you're an artist, you're an artist. Whatever platform, whatever currency you use. Okay, sorry, but what was the whole question? Can you repeat it again?
Ma'am, how do you find inspiration and stay motivated in exploring new creative frontiers in Web3?
No, I just observe what's going on with people. Just listen to stories and all. And Twitter is actually a fantastic, unfiltered source of news if you actually go and look out for them. And you also see how different opinions shape how something else shape whatever that's happened. So you get in this States. I find it really funny because I'm out from the States, far away on the other side of the world. And right now what I see is the USA is, they think that they are just broken down into left or right, conservative or non-conservative, blaming each other for something. Whereas if they stood outside that box and looked in, they'll see that left, right, conservative, non-conservative are all the same thing. So I always look at things like this, and sometimes I make fun of it. Sometimes I use it to make dystopian stories for my art pieces. Like the one Comply. That's one I would Comply, and yeah. So I just look at things like how I've always been doing. Just look at things in a way. I hope that answers you.
Yeah, that appreciately. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I've shared this artwork up on the jumbotron, and that is something I drew during the time when I was drawing a series called "Late Night Twitter Spacing from the Other Side of the World." And so yeah, and I bet a lot of you are still doing this, especially if you're not in the Western Hemisphere, because you have to stay up to where most spaces happen, which is according to Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, that's why I say that I feel like I'm living 25-hour time zones. So yeah, back to you guys.
Thank you, Akash, for coming up and asking that question. Appreciate that. And I was trying to also find the picture that you put up there to also put here on the live stream. So I know that the next person we had on the speaker stage was Hudasaka. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. Giancarlo, Jenny, what's good? Thank you for hosting this amazing space. I don't want to say your name incorrectly, but your art is beautiful. When I got into listening to the conversation, after a little bit, you mentioned something quite like that. Like people have a bunch of trouble pronouncing names throughout the Web3 space, and I say this not only because of your name, and of course cultural differences and accents and different languages. But I myself had find myself in a bit of a, I would say like lost with my name pronunciation in different spaces as well. My name is Juan David Salazar Castillo. I'm from Colombia, so I just took the first two letters of each name and I created Hurasaka. But then I've learned that people will pronounce it however they want it. Some people call me Judasaka, some people call me Judaseka, Udakasa, Kasahuka. I mean, it goes all over the place. And I just go with it. I felt that it's become a great conversation starter or like a great icebreaker, and that really helps to get to know more people. So it's like a funny thing to get your name mispronounced, but it's usual, I would say, even for Latin American people and of course people from all over the world. Some other things that I heard over. I mean, first of all, I think I already said that your art is beautiful, and David was highlighting the fact that we and you were talking about this as well, as NFT artists or whatever we do. I consider myself, and I think I've heard plenty of times Jen talk about this, even Eddie Gangland, and I consider myself, and I know a lot of us do, as a creator. So whatever I create is that's what I do. I'm not an NFT artist. I'm not a I'm not a digital artist. I'm not like I don't only paint or create stuff with paint. I'm all over the place, and a lot of my work kind of revolves around that. The fact that I'm able to create bridges, and we talk a lot about this with Jen and other spaces, and last week's spaces as well with Joseph Zapata, a great artist also from Colombia. And and the fact is that we create stuff, and a lot of that, and back to David's point, um, to not care about what people say. I would say I myself consider myself to be very like outgoing and like an extrovert, but sometimes I'm not. We're not always the person who we think we are, and I think that's key in the sense of what we express. So whatever we express to our work, art, or whatever we do, music or speaking and et cetera, that's basically what we want to show. And if that's honest, and if it's something people can relate to in the sense of feeling not that they like the art necessarily, but that they feel that whatever you put on that piece of paper, on your iPad, on whatever you're doing, clearly comes from oneself. And I think that's pretty cool. That's something I heard Jenny say a couple of days ago, and I really connected with that. We create for us. Well, that's the way I see it. I don't create for other people. I create for myself. And I would say I'm my biggest judge. Like whenever I'm like, oh, is people gonna like this? rarely find myself thinking that. It's more like, damn, what I just created is super fun, and I want to put it out there. That's part of being an artist, I believe. Once I believed in myself, I kind of felt that chip change in feeling like I'm actually an artist. I say this because I'm not an artist. I didn't study art or anything like that. I'm a self-taught artist. So I combine those two. The NFT thing, you guys talked about this, and it's something I say a lot, but of course in the Web3, it kind of creates a lot of noise. I believe in NFTs. I love NFTs, but I still see it as a platform to reach a more global audience. I believe it's growing. I believe we're creating it as well, and I love that part about Web3, and it's the fact that we're building it. But that doesn't mean that I'm married to this platform. Like if something else comes about, I still do my physical expos and exhibitions. To me, it's more of reaching a global audience. It was recently that I created this. I was doing like a bio about myself for this thing in Peru for a blockchain conference that they had in Peru. And I realized that since I started Web3, a lot of my expos and exhibitions have gotten to a more global audience. So I've been in Panama and then Miami, like a lot of that was happening here, but now I'm reaching more of South America. I was just in Portugal as well, and a lot of that has come through NFTs, which is what I love because it helps me to reach a more global audience. And with that, also what you just said, in terms of that interconnectivity that we have, the fact that you're like super far away, but we still talk to each other a lot, and I love that about Web3. Going back and closing a little bit with the thing about the names and pronunciation, how, and I'm sorry for the bad language, but how fucking cool is it that we're able to connect with people from all over? And this is something we've heard for the older people that I know are here since the 2000s with the whole internet thing, reaching a more global audience and being able to connect with one another. And 23 years after that, I really feel that that's starting to happen. We've been connected, but the interaction has gotten better and better thanks to technology. And in this case, what we talk about, which is definitely art. So, yeah, this is what I love about Web3, the fact that I'm able to connect with a whole bunch of other people, not only through art, which is what we do essentially, but through these sources of spaces where we get to meet people, put faces behind um, the PFPs, to get to know. And I love that question about Jen. I really love these spaces because she asked you, and she's asked, I mean, most of the people that are here, the guests, what else do you do aside from art? Not only in terms of work, but what other things do you enjoy? I know Jen is a big fan of nature. I myself love nature as well, but I consider myself to be a city kid as well. So I go back and forth, and I feel that's part of what we do in terms of how we express ourselves. And hopefully, and I mean that with all my heart, hopefully we keep doing that and not fall into the trap of trying to create for other people. Once we do that, I feel that the whole concept of art is put aside. To me, art in whatever form is just another way of expression, and that's what people should do: express what they feel, maybe when they can't do it through words. So hopefully that's what we keep doing. Big shout out to everyone. My boy Luco, I see him down there as well. Akash, who I heard last time. David, I got a piece of your first drop on Object, and it was amazing. I really loved the selfie thing. I think it was a pretty cool concept. So big shout out to everyone. Giancarlo, I love your work. You saw me getting one of your pieces. I'm glad you had that sold out. So nothing but much, much love. Keep creating, guys. Let's go.
Let's
Yay,
go.
let's go.
Oh, another thing before I hand over the mic. I'll be in Florida from like the 25th of June until the 5th, July 4th celebration, all of that. So maybe if I'm able to meet some of y'all, that would be amazing. David, I don't know where you live, but I don't know why I feel that you live in Florida. I know Jennifer does. Giancarlo or somebody else already
Yep.
reached out and they said, hey, if you're out here, let's connect. So I would love to put faces to y'all.
Yeah.
Of course, Jenny and David, I would love to see you guys again. So let's see
I
how
live
that
in
goes.
Georgia, so it's not that far from Florida.
Not at all. I'll be staying in Ocala, which is only a couple hours away. Where
Oh,
in
wow.
Georgia? I'm sorry, I took a little bit of space for this.
In kind of north of Atlanta. It's like
Okay.
called Canton, like kind of up in the mountains.
I'll look it up.
Canton, Georgia. Yeah, that would be awesome to
Yeah,
Nice.
see you.
I really hope we get to reconnect again one.
Yeah,
Totally.
definitely,
Much love,
man.
guys.
No, much love to you, brother. Thank you so much for coming here. I love a lot of what you said. I live an hour east of Orlando, so I'm super close. So yeah, you definitely hit me up when you come this way. I would love to catch up and meet face to face and hang out. And man, I really love that point you made about that the fact that we are we're creators, right? Like it's not NFT artists or this or that. I mean, even if like all this technology and all these things go away, we're still going to be creating, and putting stuff out there.
I'm having problems with the audio. Okay.
Oh, okay. Fudasaka, can you still hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Now I can hear.
Okay, you're back. Okay, cool. All right, all good. I think. And Chun-Li, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just shared something from Juan up there, and I thought it was pretty cool because they're using VR headsets to do paintings within wherever the virtual gallery is. And I was thinking one day when there is going to be a real metaverse, like that was the blocky one called. Oh my goodness, the game. The name is got on my head. Okay, those games when it's going to be a real metaverse when we can really run from one place to another geographically within a space or even teleport to each other, and you can actually go around and vandalize for real. I think that's when it's going to get exciting. And no, anyway, I enjoy seeing those pictures because you're really doing it in this space. Yeah. Okay, back to you guys.
A quick word about what you shared. One, thank you for sharing that. We downloaded. I wanted to talk to Jen about this. I've been putting away this conversation for a little bit, but Jen is also a VR. I'll say like a VR artist, like a virtual reality artist. But something happened to my account, and now I'm not able to reach my games. I don't know what the hell happened, so I had to like repurchase stuff. And while I was looking through the games that I had to purchase again on my VR headset, I ran through the King Spray thing, and I was with Luco. Luco's down here as well. And I said, should we download it? I mean, we've seen people playing around with this. And yeah, I mean, we ourselves, not Luco necessarily, but Joseph Zapata and myself call ourselves apartment kids, graffiti artists, like apartment graffiti artists, meaning that we don't really hang out in the streets all that much as we would like to, but it's kind of hard. We do other things. And most recently, we had a really nice mural that we made right before we went to New York. And I mean, it's the streets, you know how it goes. So we got like somebody went over and literally just painted over our wall, and that was a little sad if I'm honest. So a lot of that conversation started happening in the sense of we don't care if people go over our stuff on the streets because we've already created something, and thanks to Web3 and NFTs and all of that, we can share that with people. So the graffiti stops being so something that people can take away from you. It becomes something that you can actually put on Web3 and make it as an NFT, and I believe that to be so cool. We started trying out. This is like at a rooftop location in New York. So we just put on our headsets and we started playing around, and we created something that we would normally do here in Bogota, and wherever we go, we've painted walls also in New York. And yeah, just hand over the can to Luco. He did his thing. He's amazing. He felt so comfortable doing it. I was like, have you ever played this before? But Luco is he was born to do art. Like if you meet Luco and if you see him work, he's amazing. He's down here. Check him out. So that was pretty cool to hang out with them. And then Joseph came along, and he had a little bit of trouble getting used to like the whole VR experience. But once he did, he just did his thing. His palometa came out amazing, and I'm glad we're able to share all of this. A lot of what I do, and I include my in this convo, I include of course Luco and Joseph, is that we try to create bridges between what we do in real life, like everyday life, and art. So I just try to put art in between all of those things that we do in our everyday life, like work, like sharing and talking to our friends, like having cool conversations to talk about, like creating different spaces to share our art in different moments, and all of that is basically what moves me. Not only art, but being able to see people connecting through art, and of course with the use of technology. Again, guys, thank you very much. a pleasure for you guys to share a little bit of what we do, and hopefully we get to hang out and do some VR painting soon.
Let's do it,
Love
man.
that. Love that idea. And I saw you guys doing your graffiti, and I was like, yes, let's go. So fun. We actually just downloaded a different application yesterday that lets you create like through light. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Creatress, but she something fun integrated into your daily life. So all about VR. I'm really happy more people are taking advantage of that.
I didn't catch any of that. Did any of you?
No, I didn't. I think Jenny was rugging a little bit the sound. Yeah, unfortunately. I heard up to the Creatress part, and then it kind of just like.
Yeah, you turn into a robot, and I think that's quite fitting for a space like this.
Oh, sorry about that, Jenny. I don't know if maybe dropping and coming back on the space. I don't know. Or try talking again now. Let's see if it's better.
No, I don't think she can hear us.
Oh, or do you want to talk through the restream? Maybe that might work. We'll see. All right. Well, let me move over to the next person we had up in the speaker panel, TP NFTs. How you doing?
I'm okay. Hello, guys. How are you all?
Doing good.
I'm okay. Hello, guys. How are you all?
Doing well.
Am I logging or what?
No, it wasn't you. I think it was Jenny. I was having some issues, and that's why it was echoing.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, it's okay. Thank you. So I just kind of jumped into the conversation. I don't know. Can you give me some highlights, please?
Sorry, now I was on mute. No, yeah, I mean, so the space was really we had interviewed Chun Li as our guest spotlight artist, and we were opening it up in case anybody wanted to come up, say how they're doing, and if you had a question for Chun Li.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll probably stay back and listen to the conversation before I come to speak. But Shirley is an amazing artist. I think if she can remember me very well, she's one of those people who told me to follow her footsteps closely through the spaces that she attend, and I think so. That's really amazing of her.
Your time lapse of you making that huge painting, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, that painting. I actually finished it today. I decided to make it. So I've been working on it for I think close to a month. I just finished it. Decided to put it up today. It's really amazing painting.
Yeah, I was just looking at the video. That is incredible. It's a really cool piece of art. Awesome. If you want, feel free to pin it up here. Okay. I just see that it did get pinned up. Yeah, so people can check it out. Beautiful piece.
Oh, I thought I rocked. No, I was saying. Sorry, I was just saying with a mic off. My goodness, that comparing this with the VR goggles thing just now. Just imagine these worlds not colliding anymore, but melding together. And what would that be like if this was produced in there? What is reality? What is real? What is not? This gets me thinking.
Definitely does. Well, thank you, TP, for coming up, and I appreciate you. If you do have a question, feel free to ask. If not, thank you anyways for joining, and hope you have a great day. I don't see we have any other speakers coming up. I did have maybe one last question before we can wrap it up. I know it's really late for you, Chun Li, as well. So thank you for staying on for more than a couple hours with us today. Last one I had was just, what are your top 3 favorite movies of all time?
Oh, wait. This brings back to the question is now, what else do I do outside of Okay. I actually watch a lot of movies. I do that because they are a source of inspiration. I don't watch as much now as I did in my youth, but I still watch a lot. So a definite top 3. I don't know how to put this together because I watch so much. Okay, let's say it changes with time. And recently, this week alone, I've rewatched all of the Indiana Jones because a new one is coming up, right? So I just want to see was the last one really that bad? Because I remember watching Crystal Skull and was like, oh, terrible. But I watched Raiders, then Temple, and then Last Crusade, and then Crystal Skull. Not at one go, over different days in a week. And actually, it's not that bad compared to the other ones, which is just that of nostalgia, our youth, that colored it like, oh, Raiders is the best and Temple was good. No, they're not. They're the same quality as Kingdom's Crystal Skull. Just that some magic is lost because of CGI. But yeah, I'm not sure if. Okay, let's say I enjoy Raiders a lot, but seeing it the last time on HD, this I don't know. It's a bit too clear, so some magic is lost. Okay, what else do I like? My goodness. Okay, I have to say that Pulp Fiction is a very important one. Yeah, because it changed. It's a great movie. It's got so many different stories in it, and it kind of changed the structure of movies in a way. It broke the formula, even though now the formula is back. So you have beginning, middle, end, which is quite unfortunate because of the bloody Marvel movies, which I enjoy a lot as well because the entertainment. Okay, let's say the last one. Oh no, I don't know. I don't know. This feels like an ambush question.
You're good. I really love all of the Indiana Jones movies, so I feel like they count as individual ones. I also, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Raiders, but for some reason, The Last Crusade really gets me for whatever reason. I don't know if it's that Sean Connery is also in it or what have you.
No, Sean Connery. No, it is. The partnership was so good. The father-son relationship that was fantastic, and Henry Senior showing Henry Junior what it can be done with an umbrella. That was brilliant. And yeah, no, okay, that one is quite. Yeah, wait. Now thinking about it, yeah, Last Crusade over Raiders, and of course the young what's his name, River Phoenix was in it as well at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. But now let's think of the third movie for this. I don't know. Okay. I grew up watching a lot of Cantonese movies from Hong Kong. Not so much the action ones. I mean, they are great to look at. It's the comedies, but the comedies don't really work because they're so, they're all designed for that language. So you translate it, it doesn't work. Until Stephen Chow became his own director and made those 2 movies. The first one being Shaolin Soccer. You don't have to understand a word of Cantonese for it to work. And of course, Kung Fu Hustle. You don't have to know what they're saying. Like the scene, the landlady with that, the cigarette dangling out from the corner of her mouth, of her lips. She suddenly appearing between the 2 gangsters at the back of the car. And she just looked at them, doing the Bruce Lee look, with the thumbs down in her fingers, cracking her fingers, putting fear into those gangsters. that was a fantastic piece of comedy cinema. And then you have Chase as well, the landlady and the young kid. They became Bugs Bunny. No, not Bugs Bunny. Like what's that? The Coyote and Roadrunner in human form. That was so that was funny. If you've not seen this, just go YouTube it. Look for the segments. They're really funny. So I have to say, Kung Fu Hustle would be that third movie.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. And actually, yeah, you guys just reminded me. Yeah, I need to probably rewatch the. I haven't seen the Indiana Jones ones in ages, so definitely gonna check those out again before the new one. But cool. No, thank you so much for sharing that. I know it took you a little while to like think of the three movies, but I think like to Jenny's point, you gave us even more than three because each of the Indiana Jones ones counts as its own movie. But yeah, thank you so much, Chun-Li, for coming as a guest today. Really enjoyed getting to know more about you, about your story, the artwork, the causes that you kind of push forward with your artwork, and love your honesty and everything, and how you express yourself both verbally and through the artwork as well, because I think it conveys so much. So real pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us as a guest, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.
You too, guys. And wait, it's still Friday, right? Friday after that.
For us, it's still Friday.
A great Friday. TGIF.
TGIF. All right.
Yeah.
Take care, Chun-Li, and thank you to everyone else that was here, that joined us, that also to the folks that came up to speak. Appreciate that. I hope you all have a great day and a great weekend. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye, everyone. And wait, the poet.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, people.
I will be sending DMs to people that joined the space. Make sure you did like, comment, or retweet on the space so I know who to send the DM links to.
Thanks for having me here, Giancarlo. Is it Giancarlo or Giancarlo, actually?
So funny enough, just like you, I've gotten probably over 20 different versions of my name, but it's a Giancarlo. But I've gotten
Giancarlo,
all different variations. But yeah, that's it.
Which is kind of great, because it means that you can exist in many dimensions within this one dimension, which is great, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's like getting different versions of a taco in different parts of the world. It looks the same, but it's not the same. Or like Chinese food as well. So thanks for having me here, Danny and Giancarlo. I'm probably saying it wrong.
It's all good. All right. Thank you, Chun-Li. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Love y'all.